On the Spot. We take to the skies in Ace Combat Assault Horizons, fight aliens in Crysis, and make good on the name in Orcs Must Die. We've also got the latest digital downloads, a look at Wargame European Escalation, and go off the record in Dead Rising. We're live and on the spot.
What's up, GameSpot?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Spot, where we are live, coming at you from the GameSpot studios. I'm your host, Chris Waters. Joining me on the big red couch, Kevin Van Ord. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Look at all the space I have.
So much space,
Great.
just sprawling out. So
I'm gonna lay back.
I will say it's the top of the show. I don't want you to lounge too early. We got you here for two demos. The first of which is Ace Combat Assault Horizon.
I'm tired of myself already.
Oh,
so, yeah, two?
Two?
Two.
You're here.
I'm here twice.
Yeah, you're double duty on the couch.
Yeah.
Ace Combat.
Ace Combat Assault Horizon.
What the deal? Ace Combat, jet flying. It's
Ace Combat jet flying. It's been called Call of Duty in the air.
Okay.
Sort of an apt description. There's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of cinematic stuff going on. You know, it's an assault on the senses.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's assault our viewers' senses right now and start this demo real quick. I see that you are flying a jet.
I am in a MiG, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let off my my multi-target missiles, and boom, you see something there already.
Yeah, you totally just blew up a jet over.
Now what I'm going to try to do,
you're flying
this
over?
is Dubai I'm flying over,
Yeah.
and I am now going to initiate something that's new.
Whoa. What's this?
In this particular Ace Combat game.
Aiming down the sights?
This is dogfighting mode.
Okay.
And when I'm in a particular position and close enough to an enemy jet, and I'm in the right kind of jet, whether I'm in a fighter or whether I'm in a multi-purpose jet, I can initiate that mode.
Nice.
And what that does is you basically follow in sort of an on-rails fashion.
Okay.
Not wholly on rails, of course, but
you got to keep going in the right direction, but you're not like some of the control of the plane is sort of.
It sort of funnels me
for
down,
you?
right?
Okay.
And in cases like that, I'm generally not going to run into buildings if it takes me through buildings and things like that. Now here's a case where I've got an enemy on my tail.
Okay, so someone is trying to dogfight mode you.
But I can initiate a quick time event
do a loop
and
de loop.
turn the tails.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of the
Totally blew
gist
that dude
of the
up.
flying. You've got your standard flying that you would normally expect, such as what you see here, and I can use my.
Can you go buzz the
my
tower?
gun,
Can you
I
go buzz the Burj Khalifa?
And I can, but.
Oh, dogfighting time! Yeah!
Named enemies are generally a little tougher.
Sorry, you didn't think we were going to get through this without like a Top Gun reference?
Yeah, please do.
Right?
And what's interesting, you'll notice, it's very cinematic. It shows a close-up of him exploding, and then of course I get Call of Duty Alien Blood and oil. Well, I assume that it's
that's
not
just because it's
necessarily
coming.
all
That's
blood.
what's the effluent of that the detritus from the exploding plane.
Absolutely, and it's all over my windshield.
Nice.
Windex will always be in business.
Or when you're flying at 1399 speeds per hour, you probably don't need Windex.
No, usually
comes
not.
off.
At least not while you're flying.
Oh, look, it's that palm tree, that crazy palm tree community. What they made in the ocean.
Well, that's what's really interesting in a way about this particular game as opposed to most Ace Combat games. Is this is rather than a fictional environment that sort of resembles Earth. This is our world. It's a fictional story, of course.
Whoa!
See, I like to keep things dramatic.
Yeah, that was good, Kevin. Nice.
The game will always remind you to pull up if you get too close to the ground.
So considerate of it.
Absolutely.
Wow, the skies over Dubai are just thick with fighter jets.
Absolutely, and a little more raspberry jelly on the screen there.
Oh, can you show us some of the architecture?
Sure. You want me to fly in?
Yeah. Can we just buzz like Main Street down here?
We'll not worry so much about the mission at hand.
I just want to see some of the take a quick look at there's the Arabian Desert. Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Are doing it.
Right on through. Things are tough, in this story. I don't want to give too much away for people that are going to be playing it, but let's just say that there's You know, there's a reason we're fighting over these major cities.
Okay.
And
not just because they look cool.
not just because they look cool, but there are indeed bad guys. And, you know, some typical bad guys. They're not, you know, they're bad guys you've seen in video games before.
Are they terrorist bad guys?
They are terrorist bad
Ooh,
guys.
you tagged him.
I did.
Nice flying.
But they are, you know, they are also Russian terrorist bad guys.
Russians.
So we're really kind of covering both bad guy scenarios in one.
Yeah. All right. Now you're flying. You said you're flying a MiG.
I am.
But you made mention of a more multi-purpose jet. What are some of the other aircraft?
Well, there are all
you
sorts
fly
of things.
here?
There are Hornets in here. You know, F-18s. You know, there's
So
a
like
lot
fighter
of different-
jets.
Fighter jets. You've got games. You've also got jets that can do double duty for ground and air targets. Some are better suited for fighting in the air. Some are better suited for ground combat. and
Would you
some
call them
are-
bombers?
Are both.
Or
Yes,
are they
there
not?
are bombers
Yes.
in the game.
Okay.
But you don't do a whole lot of bombing in the single-player campaign. There is some bombing.
Now
but
you
don't
say
really
in the
do a lot.
single-player campaign as if there's some sort of bomber mode that's separate. What
there are-
else is there here besides single-player campaign?
Besides the single-player campaign, you can go back and play free missions. There's also, you know, some interesting online component. There's co-op. You can go back and play with up to 2 others
Okay.
in co-op, which is really nice. And that's the co-op campaign. And online,
Oh, yeah.
you get mixes of all sorts of different jets as well as helicopters. There are helicopter missions in the game that work, you know, somewhat differently than the standard jet flying, in the sense that they control a lot like a first-person shooter might control.
Really? So like, I was stopped by your desk the other day, and you were sort of hovering and strafing around a building, and you're shooting human targets.
I was.
So it's
But not just human targets. There are, you know, other choppers that you're going to target, and things like, you know, SAMs and stuff like that.
cool.
So,
All right. Now, folks, as you know, we are live, and so if you have questions for Kevin about Ace Combat Assault Horizon, sound off in the chat and let us know, because we are totally here for you and also for the purpose of shooting down jets in video games. So in this mission, I mean, is this like, this is the lead guy, right?
yeah.
So if you vanquish him, is it
Well, the missions generally last. I mean, like in a lot of Ace Combat games, the missions generally last, you know, a decent amount of time.
Okay.
So it's always a multi-part mission for the most part. Not all of them, but almost all of them. So once I complete one stage, it'll move on to the next. And as you see, some of these dogfighting sequences take you through the streets. Don't let that freak you out too much. I'm not in a whole lot of danger.
I was getting a little freaked out, not for you, but for the mild-mannered office workers of downtown Dubai. Like,
Yeah,
you're
they have it
there,
rough.
you're collating, you're filing and brewing the coffee, and then all of a sudden, and actually, folks, this week in San Francisco is Fleet Week, which is when the Blue Angels come to town, and so just earlier this afternoon, we heard the roar of
that's right.
fighter jets zooming over the city, and so this demo is very appropriate, and perhaps that's why I was getting a little nervous when you were just zooming through downtown. I was picturing that in San Francisco.
Well, I almost got nervous just now because I almost stalled. So let's go ahead and try to, you know, on the radar, the most important enemies show as red markers, but others show.
And
as
you've got a
green.
couple on your tail, so why don't you do some barrel rolls? And we're gonna bring this demo to a close.
All right.
This was our look at Ace Combat Assault Horizon, Mr. Van Ord. When can folks get their hands on this game?
This coming Tuesday.
It's coming Tuesday.
Absolutely. Xbox 360 and PS3.
All right, cool.
My pleasure.
All right, well, Tuesday, this is coming out, but there's a lot more happening in the news these days. Brendan Sinclair has the latest for you from the GameSpot news desk. Brendan, take it away.
Welcome to your GameSpot news update for Thursday, October 6th.
Homer,
Tom
what's up,
Magrino is
dude?
still on vacation. I'm Brendan Sinclair filling in. In sad news this week, Apple co-founder Steve Jobs died Wednesday at the age of 56. Jobs stepped down from his post as CEO of Apple in August after a string of health problems had made him unable to fulfill his duties. Jobs was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer in 2004 and underwent a liver transplant in 2009. Apple released a statement announcing Jobs' passing, saying, "Apple has lost a visionary and creative genius, and the world has lost an amazing human being. Those of us who have been fortunate enough to know and work with Steve have lost a dear friend and an inspiring mentor. Steve leaves behind a company that only he could have built, and his spirit will forever be the foundation of Apple." Jobs orchestrated Apple's meteoric rise in recent years, turning technology into a lifestyle accessory market with stylish and accessible products like the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. As if that wasn't enough to ensure his place in our cultural history, Jobs also started CG film company Pixar, makers of Toy Story and Finding Nemo. For more on Jobs, check out today's special tribute to the executive on GameSpot's Appetite for Distraction. In other news, rumors of the Halo feature film surfaced once again, as the French publisher of the new novel Halo Cryptum mentioned the movie in a press release for the book. Translated into English, the release said that a Halo movie was set for release in 2012, with Steven Spielberg and DreamWorks doing the honors. Don't start camping out for tickets just yet, however. A representative with the publisher told GameSpot in English, "We should have put more conditional to this sentence, because indeed, we do not have any precise confirmation about this project. Sorry if we made you expect something." That's all we have time for today. For more on these and other headlines, head over to news.gamespot.com.
All right, we are back here, folks, and Kevin Van Ord is still on the couch, but you got a different game. You got a different controller. We're playing still Xbox 360, and this time it's Crysis.
It does look like the same controller, though, but it is, in fact, a different controller from the other one.
Mark our words, folks. Crysis is coming to consoles. The first-person shooter, long hailed as the best-looking shooter ever to grace computers. The thing that, sent hordes of PC users out to buy umpteen bajillion-dollar graphics cards and what have you.
That's an exact amount, too, which is pretty amazing.
I mean, I do my research before these shows.
The ATI and NVIDIA $18 bajillion video cards.
Made those companies what they were today. But Crysis is now on a console, and you can totally play it.
You totally can. You don't need an umpteen bajillion video card. You just got to be in the mood for some good shooting, some nice jungle graphics.
Okay.
And so on and so forth.
Let's see some jungle graphics.
Yeah. I love that.
And you're getting shot.
Exactly.
Right
the checkpoints are as before. There's no manual saving.
Okay.
So I'm going to try
You are gone quasi-visible.
I have. Now, one of the first things you'll notice if you've played PC version and then go to console is that the controls have been changed to sort of match Crysis 2's controls.
Okay.
So, I can, instead of switching to 5 different modes that you use, they're more built in. I mean, cloaking and armor mode are still their own separate modes, but now instead of having strength mode, you simply hold the button to jump.
Do you have a walk at normal speed mode? You look like you're going really slowly.
You do move actually relatively slowly compared to Crysis 2, for example, and other shooters. But that's one of the modes is, for example, speed mode.
Okay.
Is now instead of a separate mode, you just simply sprint like that.
Oh, okay.
And that's speed mode.
And it still drains your.
It still drains your energy
Gigaboots.
meter, regardless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so many people to kill.
I don't have any grenades.
Shoot them, Kevin. Shoot them in their
Oh, hello.
encampment.
So now it's interesting. People are going to ask about the graphics, obviously, and how it holds up. Clearly, it's not, the PC version, if you know what I mean. Clearly, it doesn't quite.
Let's say I were to not know what you mean.
Let's see if you were okay. But let's say that you had played Crysis 2.
Yes. Okay.
Then perhaps you might be surprised that, on consoles, Crysis 2 probably looks a little bit better than Crysis 1. Not necessarily surprising. It's the most recent game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But makes sense.
Overall, this game looks really good.
Yeah. It's looking crisp.
And it runs, so far, it runs well. I haven't run into a lot of frame rate issues or anything like that. And
That's good.
the updates are sensible for a console player, rather than having to fumble with the controller to switch between modes. It's nice that rather than switching to strength mode, I can just jump really high.
That was a pretty
without
high
having
jump.
to fumble around with
That was
interface.
good. Thanks for showing that off.
Absolutely, I love some running and jumping.
Woo!
Yeah, absolutely. Check that out.
Now you're just trying to find the way into this Buckminster Fuller house?
Yep, absolutely.
Good luck. All right, so we got some folks asking questions in the chat room. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
And they're talking about the connection between this and Crysis 2.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's sort of like a, narratively speaking, what are they talking about? How do you go from being a super soldier on an island in the jungle to being a super soldier in invaded New York City?
Well, you do play as two different characters in both of those games.
Yes.
So that's something worth pointing out. But this is really obviously the beginning of the Crysis story. This is where you start the game by simply fighting off North Koreans, and then things change a little bit, and I'm failing miserably. Let's see if this is the worst possible checkpoint I could have had. Let's see if I can shoot some dudes and not worry about this.
Oh man, that green box on the radar is just deceiving you. Yeah, drive a car.
But at this point, what we know is that there are some, there's something going on out here in the jungle.
And it's not just bad driving.
Absolutely. Well, this is not the best vehicle to be running around in.
Something strange is going on. Something extraterrestrial, maybe?
Something extraterrestrial. The first indication of that is you come across a boat in the middle of the jungle that's all that's all frozen.
That's not where boats go.
No, and how did it get frozen? What's this doing there? And at this point, you play as an operative called
somebody.
Nomad.
Found someone to shoot at.
You play as Nomad in this game, right? But then your squad leader, your squad leader is Prophet, and he gets whisked away by this enormous tentacled alien.
Oh.
And at this point, the goal is to go after the enormous tentacled alien. So yeah.
To find out where your squad leader is.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, they're hostages, and as it turns out, these are people that sort of know more than they should. These are people that, these are scientists. They're out here investigating, this oddity that they've come across. You don't know a whole lot about what that is yet, but that comes along soon enough.
That dude was not staying frosty.
No, he was not staying frosty. Although hang around these aliens, and he probably would get a little frosty.
Hey, ice joke.
You see what I did there?
I do.
But yeah, eventually, it just becomes clear that we're being overrun by a new threat, and that North Koreans are hardly the worst things, that this particular team is facing.
Gotcha. They're also facing gorgeous dappled sunlight through a tree canopy.
They are, and I'm going to try to run and find something to shoot.
Yeah, right down around there. That's where you totally got shot in your face earlier.
I like getting shot in the face.
Cloak disabled?
That's because I ran out of energy because I was sprinting.
Oh, it's because you're tie-tie. Oh, yeah.
And just like in Crysis 2, you always
him in
want
it.
to, if you can, disable Cloak before you start shooting. Otherwise, you end up having all your energy immediately depleted.
Really?
So, yeah.
It just drains it just like that.
Yeah.
So smart energy management, obviously.
It's a part of the game, absolutely. Especially because it's all built together. You don't want to be cloaked and then go running and jumping around at the same time. Because that, let's say I cloak, but now I start jumping and running
Now I'm
around.
just
You can see how
jumping.
quickly that actually depletes the meter.
Gotcha. Now, we talked a little bit about how the controls have been adapted for console play, but there have also been some other changes, like to the content of the game, if I'm understanding correctly. Parts taken out, parts added in.
Yeah,
like that?
I believe that there are some. I'm not so far enough in that I know what all of those things are. I will say that I believe that the intro is slightly different.
Okay.
Which surprised me. There's a little bit extra in that opening scene.
That's pretty water.
Yeah, the water looks really, really good.
Go for a
Nice
swim.
shaders always
I'm gonna
help.
go swimming.
But let's go up here and grab this pickup
You
truck.
go drive for Joyride in that pickup truck and tell us, are people able to download this game, or is it a retail game?
This is a downloadable game. It is $20 from Xbox Live On Demand games. It's not considered an Xbox Live Arcade game. It is in the On Demand section.
Okay.
So $20 gets you the full single player campaign, no multiplayer.
Oh man, he shot you right in your truck.
Is that a euphemism?
So rude. No, I mean he literally shot your truck.
Oh right.
But oh yeah, they don't know where you're coming from now. Yeah, dual wield silenced
hello.
pistols. Oh, you're in trouble, buddy. Armor ability, maybe if that's a thing. Yeah. Oh gosh, they see you. Hide behind that tree. Organic
And
cover 2.0.
unfortunately, because I'm so far from the TV, I can't see them. So let's see if I can.
Hiding behind that tree is what Maxwell and Sean would call organic cover 2.0. If you guys have watched the Ask GameSpot feature where they sort of address your user questions about Syndicate, not only is it informative, it's also pretty amusing. Those guys are pretty entertaining. Now, Kevin, as we come to the end of Crysis demo time, did you knock over that tree?
I probably did. I was paying more attention to the dude shooting me in the face.
He's shooting you from an
Like
down
that?
position.
But there
right.
is lots of destructible cover. Everything is pretty much, it's liable to come down. Trees come down, buildings just fall apart. It's kind of like what you would expect to see in a Battlefield game, only, it's between Battlefield and Red Faction, say.
Okay.
You know, it's not quite as destructible as Red Faction. Certainly not as destructible as Red Faction.
Is it like a tactical element where you will, you'll want to infiltrate a building and you'll blow a hole in the wall, or is it just more like this place was ravaged by battle?
No,
element?
sure. It's definitely a tactical element. I mean, you can be where what you think is safe inside a building, and the whole structure will just come crumbling down around you. So you got to get out of there. So absolutely, and you can do the same thing with enemies. You know, start blowing them up. You definitely have chances to blow up fuel tanks and make things happen like that to cause distractions. So
sounds like fun.
Absolutely, it's a big, pretty world.
Still pretty fun. Still kind of enjoying it.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Holds up?
The checkpointing. You know, there's no manual saves in the console version, so you can get stuck in situations like there. You saw me play a bunch, but I got, shoved back to where I started. But aside from that, yeah, absolutely, it's totally a blast as always.
Thanks for showing it off, Kevin.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated. Glad to have you on the show as always. Up next, we're getting a different guest in to show off a different game. But before that, Sean McInnes has got to look at Dead Rising 2 off the record for us, and I think you're going to like it.
Hey everybody, it's demo time, and right now I've got Mike Schmidt from Capcom here to show us Dead Rising 2 off the record. Mike, thanks a lot for dropping by.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we've actually got the game running right here, and I believe we're checking out a new mode, Sandbox. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're really excited about Sandbox mode. We announced this at the Penny Arcade Show a couple months ago. It's something that the fans have wanted in the series, I think from, since the first game came out. It kind of lets you just go around and explore and have fun, kill zombies, check out all the different weapons, all the different locations, without the restrictions of the kind of countdown clock.
Now, what do you say to the hardcore fans who love the tension of the countdown clock? That's something that they've loved all along.
Well, you're going to have that when you play just the main story mode.
Okay.
The Sandbox mode is just
Separate optional mode?
It's a completely separate optional mode that lets you kind of just go in and play without any sort of restrictions. I mean, I know for myself when I played Dead Rising 2, there were areas of the casinos and stuff I wasn't able to get to. I didn't have enough time, and I'd have to go back and kind of do that on a different playthrough. This lets you just kind of go in and do anything you want, like I said. And one of the things that's really cool too is we've added these special challenges along the way, this challenge mode. So there's different kind of tasks you can compete in, and everything's up on the leaderboard, so you can kind of get your high score up there. I think Brian will probably try to trigger them one of these in a second here and run through it, but it may be, how many zombies can you kill in, 45 seconds, or, how many zombies can you kill using only like electricity weapons, that sort of thing. So it's kind of, fun little challenges that are kind of peppered all throughout the Sandbox mode.
Now, as we can tell here, one of the most immediately noticeable differences is the new hero, Frank West, sort of the new old hero, right?
Yeah. He's back. I mean, a lot of people really liked Chuck Green and his, story arc in Dead Rising 2. This game is, kind of unique. It started out as kind of like a director's cut of Dead Rising 2, and then the team at Capcom Vancouver, really kind of got original and started doing some different stuff, and they said, well, let's reimagine Dead Rising 2, but from the perspective of Frank West. So, really popular in comics is when they do the whole alternate universe idea. So this is sort of the same, sort of thinking. It's what would have happened if Frank was the star? What's his story?
Okay. Now, Frank is more or less, does he control sort of the same way as Chuck? Is he as, physically adept as Chuck was?
Yeah,
He's got a little bit more of a gut.
yeah, well, you'll get all this when you play through the story mode, but Frank, at the end of Dead Rising 1, he was a bit of a celebrity. He kind of falls on some hard times, falls from grace, so to speak. And if you also remember, he was bitten by a zombie in the original Dead Rising, so he actually needs Zombrex. He's in need of money.
Oh, right.
So he travels to Fortune City to compete on Terra's reality, similar to what Chuck was doing, but Chuck was trying to earn money for his daughter. Frank's trying to earn money for himself so he can afford Zombrex. And as far as controls go, he's got a lot of wrestling moves and things like that Chuck didn't have. And one of the things we're really excited about too is, now that Frank is back, he's a photojournalist, and all the camera stuff is back in there. So fans got a little taste of it in Case West when we had, Frank West as the other player in there, and the controls are really great. They've been all redone for this. You can, rack up PP for the different categories. There's horror and brutality and erotica, everyone's favorite. So having the camera mechanic in there is almost it's a fun little game within a game at times, because you'll find yourself kind of trying to set up these elaborate stunts where you can throw a bladed weapon and snap a picture right when it hits a zombie and stuff like that. It's really fun.
Our friend Brian here is going to need to find some food fast if he's not going to die in a few seconds. Now, one of my favorite parts about Dead Rising 2 were the combination weapons.
Yes.
Should we expect to see any more of those?
Yeah, we've actually got a whole bunch of them that are in Dead Rising 2. A lot of the favorites from DR2 are all back, but for Off the Record, we've added, I think there's 10 or possibly even more. And we've kind of been showing them off over the last few months. One of my favorites is the Pegasus. It's when you can combine the little stick pony with some rockets and stick it in the zombie, shoot him off into the air, and he explodes like a bottle rocket. And
it is the same overall setting, but there is sort of a new area in there that
it is Uranus Zone.
Uranus Zone, of course.
So it's an alien-themed amusement park, and it's approximately the size of one of the casinos in Fortune City. So it's if you play DR2, you're kind of familiar with how big those areas are, and it's full of all sorts of interactive rides that you can use as death traps. Just kind of a funny alien-themed sci-fi environment. So there's some cool items and clothing bits that are kind of unique to that part of the game.
All right, excellent.
Including the alien probe. I remember you guys were a big fan of the alien probe.
I was a big fan of the alien probe. Perhaps a little bit too much, I will admit. Anything else that you want to mention about Dead Rising 2 off the record?
Well, just that it's it is this alternate take on Dead Rising 2. So I think even if you were a fan of DR2 and played it all the way through, you're really going to enjoy this game, because it is this kind of alternate take. There are some surprises in the story that will hopefully get you excited. Some different psychos that weren't in DR2. We've got this whole sandbox mode that's been added. We've got a lot of things kind of done under the hood that Capcom Vancouver worked on, as far as loading times and zombie AI. They're constantly just improving the game and making it play better.
All right. And in fact, they did a little work to the save system, if I recall.
Yes.
There's some checkpointing after.
There's some checkpoint saving, and you can also now, save at any time, multiple save slots. So by just finding the restrooms.
All right.
New combo weapons, just tons of new items, and also it's only $39.99, so it's not even a full price product. It's like a tremendous value for the money. You're getting a whole Dead Rising 2 product with all this new stuff just in time for Halloween.
Great timing.
There you go.
All right, Michael, thanks a lot for dropping by, showing us Off the Record. Can you go ahead and remind everybody out there when it's going to be out in stores and the platforms it'll be out for?
It comes out on October 11th, which is next Tuesday. And we're on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and also on PC. It's going to be available as a digital download we've got a whole bunch of different partners, and you can find out about those on CapcomUnity.com.
Cool. All right. So there you guys have it. That's Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. Now on with the rest of the show.
Oh, Sean McInnes. Thanks, buddy. All right, folks. It's time for another demo featuring another GameSpot staffer. This one with more hair Maxwell McGee.
Whoa!
That's
How's
right.
it going, everybody? How's it going, Chris?
I can answer for myself.
Yeah?
It's going well.
All right.
I hope
Are you ready to see some orcs get worked?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause we're checking out Orcs Must Die.
100% ready. Orcs Must Die. That's the
Here we
name of
go.
this game.
I've got it loaded up, ready to roll here.
All right.
So-
we're playing, yeah.
This game, sort of like Trenched in concept, it's a we won't call it tower defense. I guess we could call it trap defense because you go around setting up traps and not towers.
Okay.
But as you can see here, you have an avatar that you control in the game world.
Yes.
And
with a
then,
jaunty scarf.
Once we set up our traps and we open the doors here, we got the orcs on the other side banging on the gates. They'll come out, they'll hit the traps, they'll get murdered. We'll totally shoot them with our crossbow and other weapons, and we'll rack up kills, and it'll be good fun.
All right. Let's set some traps.
So first, we gotta pick out our traps. I'm gonna grab the sword because it's good for melee.
That doesn't sound like a trap.
I'm gonna grab the wind belt. We also have weapons. You have weapons and you have traps.
Okay, so you're giving yourself the loadout right
So
now.
I'm giving myself, also gonna get the wind belt. That's gonna let me push orcs around. That'll be a good time.
wind
Grab some
belt.
spikes, grab some tar pit, and grab the barricade and the archers, which are sort of like turrets, basically.
All right,
hop
so
out
you
of
have
there.
those 4 items and you can place them.
Yes.
Are these little wispy lines I'm seeing? Like,
The wispy lines, these represent what paths the orcs are going to take.
Okay.
So as you can see here, they have 2 paths to get to the rift at the end. What they're trying to do is go through the rift and kill all the people on the other side. And
You gotta stop
We
them.
are pretty much the only thing standing in their way. So they have 2 paths here. This path, much shorter, much more direct route back to the rift. This one, you have to go up some stairs. It's a bit longer. So I'm going to use these barricades that I just got.
seal it off.
And I'm going to seal it off. Let me just get in position. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. And so
orcs
far,
getting through there.
they haven't attacked the barricades yet. They just walk around them.
They're just
So-
like, fine, I'll go the other way.
Also, we got this
Gosh.
thing here. It's a little teleporter
Whoa, hey,
doorway. Takes
hey.
me back to the rift, so if I need to get around quickly.
Ah, if it's like, your rift is in danger.
Yep, you can totally pop on back, take care of business. So with my remaining funds, drop a couple of spikes here, and
right in the way.
we should be good to go.
All right, dude.
Unleash the horde. Use my buttons here, get my weapons. I can click down on the stick to zoom in.
They busted through.
Here come the orcs.
And so, okay, those spikes are gonna like Prince of Persia them.
Yep, totally gonna impale them. They take about a second or 2 to like set back up again, so they don't just rapid fire all the time.
Those spikes killed a few dudes, but like you're doing the bulk of the work here.
You pretty much have to. So push these orcs back.
Oh,
back, you
wind
fiends.
belt.
So yeah, the wind belt lets you push orcs back. I've been using that pretty much the entire time I've been playing this game. Very useful item. Good crowd control.
Nice.
The bow and arrow, you see I've got my primary fire here. I can also alt fire, which uses up that blue meter up in the top corner of the screen.
I see it.
It'll stun enemies for a time. Oh, I'll get to the sword in just a second, but first I'm gonna lay down some tar around these spikes. In case they try to walk around them, they're gonna hit the tar.
I appreciate your sense of symmetry when
Oh,
putting down
here come the
those traps.
kobolds. I'm gonna use the sword to cut them down quickly. Kobolds, they don't have a lot of health, but as you can see, they're fast.
Speedy.
And they'll just make a beeline for your rift. Chop them up, chop them up. The
one's around the
alternate
corner.
fire on the sword, sort of like the wind belt, but with less range. It'll knock enemies back, buy you a little time to get set up. All right, next wave. in a couple of
Kobolds
seconds.
defeated. So the next wave is coming really quick. This is a pretty fast-paced game.
It is pretty fast paced. After like 5 waves or so, there's like a break where
Okay.
it's usually after a real big wave, so you have a lot, you're flush with cash. It gives you a bit of a longer break to set up some more traps. If you have any archers that got killed in the line of duty, it'll respawn your archers for you, which is nice, and then you can get going again.
I get you.
So we're fighting orcs. So far, I've encountered orcs. I've encountered the kobolds, which you saw earlier. Here in a little while, we're gonna see some orc archers, which are especially nasty. The orcs don't pose too much of a threat to you, actually, but the archers will get all in your business.
Oh, the kobolds got through.
Hate the kobolds.
Speedy little
Stop it.
buggers. So it looks like you could use a hand here. Is there a way to get like some local multiplayer going or anything for this?
Unfortunately, this is single player only.
This question brought to you courtesy of Le Chat Room.
It is single player only. Some local co-op would have been nice, but there's leaderboard support, so you can go for the high score.
Oh man, there's your rift. It's right around the
I
corner.
know, it's right around the corner.
Sorry,
but
you
I
got
think
this
these are
well
the
in
last
hand.
enemies. There we go. So here we go. We got a break. Your score basically is calculated on time. So how quickly you down the enemy waves, and complete the mission determines what score
I think you
get.
should, yeah. I think you should bring those spikes out to the side a little bit.
I think
Or
I
wait,
do,
let's
I do
see some
need-
archers. Why don't you bring some archers in?
Oh,
the
yeah,
mix
let
here?
me drop a couple spikes. I got some money.
Okay, you got some
Spikes, what I like to
cash.
do here is I like to get behind my barricades, drop an archer back there, and then I'm
Oh,
going to save this
nice.
other 300, and I'll drop another archer around this corner here when I get the chance, so he can pick up any people that
Put
sneak
them
by
down
me.
at the end of that corridor.
Yeah. So
All right,
I've increased my thing here. I'm going to stay a little closer to the front, try
Your
to push
spike
some
trap is now
enemies.
poisoned. Is that a different thing?
Yes, that is a different thing. In between missions, you can go and upgrade your traps and your abilities, and I chose to upgrade my spike traps. So now, in addition to doing damage, they will also slow the enemies down. They'll snare them for a brief time.
So you were just using the wind belt to shove your enemies back onto the trap.
Yeah,
Good tactics.
get a double tap with those spike traps.
All right, some more chat room questions. What happens if these dudes make it through to the rift?
Well, I actually have not gotten a game over yet in this game, but I do know if they make it through to the rift, they walk through it, it's not like a one-hit game over, because I have had like a couple of enemies before sneak by, make it into the rift. I think if like too many of them make it through, you'll totally lose, but I'm not sure what the exact number is on it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not one hit game over. The game is pretty forgiving, and there are varying difficulty levels. I'm playing on normal right now. There's also like a nightmare super difficulty that unlocks after you beat the game, and then a beginner difficulty, which while being easier also restricts how much currency you get after the fact. There's like a cap on how much currency you can earn for like upgrading your tools.
Okay.
We'll push these guys back.
So we've got spikes, we got tar, we got
Yeah,
barricades,
yes.
we got archers. What's one of your,
One of my
trap here?
favorites that I'm not using here because most of the fighting takes place in this large courtyard you see is there's a trap you can put on the walls that'll fire arrows out horizontally. I'm a little hurt, so I'm gonna pop in here. But that one won't trigger unless the enemies are like pretty close to it. So when you're fighting in those large open spaces like that, usually the enemies they'll just circumvent the arrow traps completely. But they're really good for tight hallways. There's also a variant on that uses giant axes.
It throws axes out of the wall?
It doesn't throw axes out of the wall, but what it does is axes just like, they just pop out. They're just like on springs and boing, and then they totally decapitate people who walk through. But it has a much shorter range, but is a lot more powerful.
Ah, I like it. Now, you weren't doing so good there for a while. We had some folks in the chat room predicting your imminent demise.
Oh, what? No,
but
no.
you
I
seem to
made it
have
work. I made it
rallied.
work.
You ran back, and the rift regenerates your health? Is that how that works?
Yes, if you run over to the rift, it'll totally heal you. If you die, there's not a huge penalty. Basically, the worst part about death is it just wastes your time and lets the enemies advance further.
Your time and ours, Maxwell.
Oh my goodness.
And ours.
In America's time. All right, I think we're good. I think we're about reached the end here. Oh yeah, wave 7 out of 7. You can see underneath the mini map there, up in the corner of the screen.
Are we going to achieve glorious victory here, Maxwell?
I think so. I'm feeling good about
pretty
this
good.
one. So like I said, you can zoom in here. If you're really good, you might have seen me get a couple of headshots earlier in the game.
Headshots, yeah.
Once you have a bunch of enemies on here, I like to use a tactic called spray and pray, which is what I'm doing right now. We're just gonna shoot arrows and hope everything works out super awesome. Back you fiends.
Now, that orc almost went into the portal. Folks are wondering, are you the only one who can use the portal?
From what I've seen, yes. I haven't seen any orcs make use of
Is there like
the
an
portals
enemy
yet.
type that would I think a kobold got through.
I think he did just sneak through there, but I don't want to leave my archers on their lonesome. The rift can take a couple of kobolds. I imagine
yeah,
there's at
okay,
least
so
one
we're
I imagine there's at least like one mall cop on the other side of the rift to catch a
being
couple
like,
of
hey, all right,
stragglers.
kobold, you cool it right there.
Yeah, you cool right there.
Settle down.
Move along.
All right, yeah, looks like you took 2 hits. So your rift is now at 18.
It's all good. It's all good. So now they've made it past most of the defenses, so it's just me and all of a sudden Archer Buddy come to my defense.
Me and my mercenary archer
Yeah,
who I summoned
there
in
we
the middle
go.
of battle.
The
Oh,
guy
and
does
look
a
at
little
that.
dance. He also, we didn't get to hear it,
Hey.
but he makes dozens of snappy one-liners.
Dozens.
Dozens. And sometimes the best is when you get the same snappy one-liner back to back.
That sounds like the
It's
worst.
actually a little bit grating.
When you say snappy one-liners, is it like maybe
It's like
cool it on the snappiness? There, snap on?
Yeah,
maybe?
he needs to back off on the snappiness just a little bit.
Okay.
He's just a little too excited about mass orc genocide.
Well,
yeah, that
I mean,
was
you know, the game is titled Orcs Must Die. exclamation point.
Exclamation point means you know they're serious.
Yeah.
Serious
gotta,
about
gotta
that orc
earn that
murder.
exclamation point.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this one. Working on the review for it as well. So
Cool.
that's going to go up early next week, probably Monday, Tuesday.
So we're seeing the review for the Xbox Live version?
Yes, for the 360
'Cause
version.
it's a download.
It is. It's also out now. It came out yesterday, I believe, and the PC version comes out next week on the 12th. Although there is also a demo out for the PC as well, so if you want to get an early taste, you can do
So
that
if
too.
you want to make Orcs Die, you totally can. Maxwell, thanks a lot for showing that off, man. That
Thank
was
you for
fun.
having me.
You did well, too. Only 2 kobolds got through.
Only 2 those sneaky kobolds every
you know,
time.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You didn't die once.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Our next demo is taking a look at an indie war game. Andrew Parks got the latest for you on that one. Let's take a look and see what happens when war happens.
So hi everyone, welcome to today's daily demo. With me today is Alexis, creative director at Eugen Systems. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
So what did you bring for us today?
Wargame, European Escalation, which is our new real-time strategy title. And this is a game that we've been dreaming of making since a really long time. It's sort of a tribute to, old-fashioned war games where you had for each unit so many characteristics, a lot of elements in terms of combat systems and stuff like this. And this is a kind of game that I used to love.
Okay, so what we're looking at is a real-time strategy game that has a lot of those sensibilities of the classic war games of
Yes,
previous
exactly,
years.
absolutely.
Okay, so Alexis, I think we have the game loaded up here. Why don't we take a look at it? Just tell us what we're looking at here.
So what we have here is when we are the closer to the ground, we feature a new version of the 3D engine that allows the player to zoom in and out very far away from the map. This new engine proposes new system of camera. For example, I'm going to have a look at just below my cursor directly. You know, we have this kind of feature camera that allows the player, to be on the battlefield, zoom in, zoom out, have the feeling he is sort of the colonel, but he can also be very close to his unit, for example.
We've seen we've seen some of the tanks and the helicopters in play. They look terrific. We've seen that you can zoom in very close, but as we mentioned, this is going to be a game that very much has the sensibilities of a war game. So, I mean, aside from giving an individual tank orders or maybe babysitting this one company of helicopters, how are players going to be able to play the game like a commander? I mean, what are some of the features of the game that are really going to let players feel like they're not just fighting a battle, but rather fighting a war?
In fact, it will be, especially when during the campaign, you have to capture, which is not featured on this map. I'll show you another map where we have we have 2 levels in the game. We've got the strategic levels where your HQ has provided you some strategic sector that you need to control with your command unit. For example, in a map like this, you've got cities, you've got a realistic roadmap. Using the roadmap means that you go faster. You need also, some of the units are not able, to road off map, to drive off map. So you need for your supply trucks and all stuff like this to control the road web. And also the second level is the tactical level where you need, to benefit from any like tactical plays. The best tactical plays are, for example, if you're in infantry, put your unit into the buildings. So, control the city. You will not be seen by the enemy. If you're tanks or other kind of unit like this, use the forest, the hedgerow to benefit from cover and things like this. So enemy unit will not be able to see you, while you will be able to shoot at them and things like this. So the defensive terrain provides sort of bonus like this. So these are the 2 levels that we are playing with.
So yeah,
in the
the
game.
higher level strategy in terms of making sure that you control specific territories, deploying your units in smart areas, controlling the roads for transportation, and making sure that your troops have their supply lines, but also tactical stuff. It looks like there's a lot of terrain features here. There's forests, and you mentioned buildings that units can garrison in, so I imagine cover is going to be very important, probably high ground is going to be very important.
Absolutely. In a tactical game, scenery, the level build is pretty important because they are a really good place to take, to control, to prevent the enemy from controlling it, and so on.
Alexis, thanks a lot for bringing the game by and showing it to us. For the folks at home, can you remind us when the game is coming out and for what platforms?
It's going to be only for PC, and it's going to be out mid of November, something like this.
Great. So thank you very much for joining us, Alexis.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks everybody at home for watching. This has been Wargame, your today's daily demo. Thanks.
Now, I'm just going through this whole pile of trivia stuff we have here to give away. We're going to be showing it off in a second, but first we're going to take a look at digital downloads. You already know that Orcs Must Die became available this week, but what else is there? Aaron Sampson is going to fill you in.
What's up, Game Spotters? This is Aaron Sampson bringing you a list of top digital downloads this week on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and Wii Shop channel. New this week on Wii Shop, become a space surfing merc in Horizon Riders for 800 Wii points. Use the Wii Balance Board, remember that piece of technology, to control your heavily armed hovercraft as you show some nasty robots why Homo sapiens rule. On PlayStation Network, the review is in, and NBA Jam On Fire Edition scored an 8.5. It costs $14.99, so that's a .57 score, rounding up, for every dollar you spent on the title. Yay, math. Fortunately, the only math you'll need in On Fire is how many alley-oops it takes to get on fire. It's 3. 3 alley-oops. Check out our written review for a detailed breakdown of the improvements made over last year's NBA Jam, and then hit the road to pull off some crazy moves, followed by some razzle-dazzle, aka gloating, to let your opponents know whose big head is the boss. On XBLA, do you love xenophobia and first-person shooter tower defense games? Then Orcs Must Die for 1,200 Microsoft points is your game. Save 24 chased fortresses from a rampaging mob of greenskins. Set traps that do a variety of nasty things to your foes, including catapulting them, spiking them, or catapulting them into spikes. Old but newly available this week on PSN, and the Umbrella Corporation's still living up to their motto of do evil. But to their credit, they do have evil shareholders expecting dividends. It's Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition for $29.99. Gold contains 2 additional episodes, Lost in Nightmares and Desperate Escape, as well as 2 costume packs and the Mercenaries Reunion mode. On XBL, do you want to change history? Well, don't. Just don't. Darkest of Days for $19.99 got a poor 4.5 score. So let history be history. On XBL and PSN, it may have murdered your PC back in 2007, but now you get to do all the murdering because Crysis is on your console for $19.99. Upgraded from the CryEngine 2 to CryEngine 3, and with a tweaked interface for console controls, you can enjoy the single-player campaign without having to zap your prams and divert your RAM. Also this week, enjoy a 7.5 scoring racer with Shift 2 Unleashed for $39.99. What we liked: helmet cam, great graphics, competing with friends through autolog, and a fast-paced career mode. We didn't like unpredictable handling. And it's a driving game, where you drive. In game demos this week on XBL, compare the previous title with an upcoming racer/car porn title with Forza Motorsport 4. Oh yeah, tires that fight Newton's first law by use of kinetic friction, brakes that turn speed into heat so you don't crash and die, a chain gun for killing Covenant, and dead dinosaur juice guzzling engine that lets you prop up third world dictatorships. Oh, that's right, this is a game. Screw all that. Going fast is awesome. On PSN, you can try the Eufloria demo. Eufloria is a game about in new DLC this week on PSN, Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012 has a range of content for 99 cents. Also, don't miss on PSN and XBL the Portal 2 peer review co-op DLC for the price of free. In-game trailers on PSN, you're looking at a Jurassic Park the Game action montage trailer, the Saints Row the Third Killbane the Walking Apocalypse trailer, and the Twisted Metal Vengeance trailer. On XBL, you know you can't get enough Hoff with the Burnout Crash Cheerleader Hoff trailer. Also check out the Need for Speed the Run Sports Illustrated trailer and the Orcs Must Die trailer. That's all the time we have. Join us next week for our top picks of digital downloads.
Trivia time! Okay, we've got it sorted out, and I have a trivia expert associate here to help me out, Sophia Tong.
You just talked me up.
I did. I'm expecting big results for you as we give away first, what's
T-shirts?
first? T-shirts.
Do you want to give this away first?
Yes, let's do
Here's
T-shirts.
one T-shirt. So here are a stack of Wargame European Escalation shirts.
That's good. Nice.
Yes.
Way to show that one how big it is.
Are you gonna read the question
Too
now?
big for Sophia. Here's the question. If you want to win this shirt that's too big for Sophia. The developer of Wargame also made which 2010 strategy game? As always, you can answer trivia questions by clicking the Ask a Question, Answer Trivia, whatever it says, button on the side of the page, that side of the page, or shooting us an email to onthespot@gamespot.com with your name and address, so we can actually send you these t-shirt thingies. No, not that one yet.
Okay.
Nope. Jumping the gun on that. Okay. Next up is Uncharted 3.
Oh,
because
right.
I don't know if you guys know, they're like doing this whole promotion with Subway and
Sandwiches. I like
and
sandwiches.
$5 foot long, etc.
So we've got a book.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a nice leather bound. At least I think it's leather.
Kind of like Drake's journal.
Yeah, if you want to do some Indiana Jonesing.
You want to scribble like the 17 faces of Sully in there.
Silica gel.
Do
so
not
these
eat.
are wristbands and the code.
The code, which gets you early access to the Uncharted 3 multiplayer beta.
Two
And
sets of these.
we've got 2 sets of those, and in addition to that, we've got a whole host of download codes for in-game shirts, guns, taunts, and cash bonus. So there's plenty of opportunity to win on this one. Jumping the gun again on the t-shirt, Tong. Okay. Sorry, Uncharted 2. Here's a question you got to answer for Uncharted 3, all that stuff. What keepsake does Elena joke about saving in a jar at the end of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves? Send that in, and you can win all sorts of Uncharted stuff. And our final giveaway is a bit of a mystery.
T-shirt time.
T-shirt time. Check it out. If you can name what game that's from, you totally get that T-shirt. It's a little bit big. What's that, XL? Yeah.
It is. Oh, no, it's a large.
It's a large. And yeah, just tell us what game that's from, because it's kind of mysterious, and there's like a little horrible alien guy on it. He looks kind of like an alien Oscar the Grouch.
A little bit.
He's just kind of coming up out of his
But he's
hole.
on like a floaty thing.
I guess it floats. I don't know. It's hard to tell. You could win that T-shirt. And yeah, there's no question. Tell us what game it's from. Bada boom.
That is the question.
Yeah, and now, so that's all right. I would rate your performance as trivia shower offer like a
9.5.
You're overselling a little bit. I think it's a solid 8.
What?
Solid 8.
Great.
Yeah,
I'll take
it
that.
was great.
It was great.
Sophia, great
wasn't
is a great
superb.
score. All right, that's a highly recommended score. You did a good job.
Am I trolling you?
I don't know. But we're about to troll you because, hey, it's Sophia's last week at GameSpot.com, folks. If you don't know, Sophia is off on another adventure in the video game industry. We are very excited for you in your new adventure, but we are sad to see you go, obviously. And in order to express our feelings in ways that are appropriate in a corporate environment, we totally made a montage.
No.
Montage.
No.
Roll it.
Hey everyone, this is Sophia Tong, and I'm here at the Clift Hotel in San Francisco where Koei's having their press day.
What a whack! You did it! He's as happy as a pig.
You have to give it everything that you got.
You know what you want to do? You want to roll over. Not that way, because you will fall.
See, that is exactly what I meant. Hey, who wants to check out those Little Big Planet 2 custom Halloween levels we made? Oh my. What I've noticed is that there aren't any female UFC fighters. I wonder if someone could help train me to become one.
All right, now you're gonna learn to take somebody down. It's very important if you're gonna be the champ. It's level 1.
Keep breathing, keep breathing.
So it says about 5 minutes with the eggs covered. Do you normally cover eggs when you're...
I don't.
Yeah.
So just some of the many adventures you've had here.
Oh gosh. Why did you have to put it in my very first interview? Well, thank you. I'm gonna miss everybody. You guys have been great. Even everyone in front of the camera and behind the camera. You guys are awesome, and I love you, and I'll miss you very, very much.
And if you want to hear more, Sophia has written up a real nice blog post on her blog. That's gamespot.com/users/Sophia. You can totally find it there. Leave her a comment, let her know how much you appreciate all that wacky crap she did for you and also for us. So
highlight of my career, the sumo thing. Seriously.
I mean, it's going to be hard to top.
It can only go down from here, yeah.
It's going to be hard to top. All right, folks, that's bringing our show to a close. We have a whole bunch of video stuff for you to check out if you didn't see it this week. Now playing for Dark Souls, Forza 4, Rage, and a new gun show coming out tomorrow for Rage, so you know how to survive the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Now for everyone back in the GameSpot studio, I am Chris Waters.
I'm Sophia Tong.
Saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.